Welcome to Inside the Business Mind, the program that takes you behind the scenes where local business owners share their tales of triumphs and tribulations. Meet your hosts, JC Rathwell and Kimberly Keller, who have a passion for uncovering the untold stories of success. Join JC, a seasoned entrepreneur who over the last 3 decades has launched successful ventures around the world. Co-hosting is the dynamic Kimberly, who brings her own wealth of experience. Each episode features candid conversations with small business owners, exploring the highs and lows and offering listeners a backstage pass to the secrets of their success. Get ready as we take you inside the business mind.
Welcome back to Inside the Business Mind. I'm your host, JC Rathwell.
And I'm your co-host, Kimberly Keller.
Kimberly, how are you doing today?
Hi, good, thanks. And you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So who do we have on the show today?
Well, JC, our next guests are marriage coaches and the owners of Morrow Marriage. They're helping couples with their real, raw, and uncensored story. They've been featured in numerous magazines, including Forbes and Maxim, not to mention their rapidly growing podcast. To date, they've helped over 4,000 couples in the last 24 months alone. Please welcome Cass and Kathryn Morrow.
Hi, thanks for having us on.
Hi guys, how you guys doing?
Very well, best day of my life. You?
Awesome. Rolling.
Good.
4,000 couples, that is, can't even comprehend that. That's amazing. But before we get into Morrow Marriage, what did you guys do before that? We'll start with you, Cass.
Well, owned a gym for 22 years. You know, I was the typical entrepreneur, struggling your way through, trying to make it work. Thought I had everything figured out, and of course you don't. You make what you make and you think this is supposed to be better, and it never really worked. And then essentially just met Kathryn. She joined me in the journey and we started to do really well together.
So the gym, where was the gym located at? What did you do, staff? Tell me about that.
Edmonton. I was the guy who worked in the business. So 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning until 8 or 9 at night, and just trained. And then when you came along, we started to figure out there was a bit of a better way.
Well, I came in and added the nutrition component. So he's the fitness,
okay.
I'm the nutrition. So when we came together with the business, that's when we blew up. That's when we had the most success in business.
So what year was that?
2018.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 years before.
Well,
okay.
2015 is when I came into the business.
Okay.
There were a few, ups and downs, and then 2018 is when the gym, we thought, exploded.
Wow.
Yeah.
And exploded with membership, exploded with...
Memberships, systems, processes, coaching, everything really grew. Staff, we were a real business at that point.
Yeah, it was stellar. Like we thought, okay, finally we made it. So after all these years of, doing 100, 150 grand a year with your business, which is not profitable, as you know.
Yes.
Then everything just blew. We 10x'd it that year. It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow, cool. But just adding on the team atmosphere, the nutrition and that. Before it was just a gym, but now it's more of a coaching, more of a nutritional, more of a one-stop shop is kind of what I'm getting by that?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, we hired a really incredible coach, and it was a huge investment. We made it back in 8 weeks and we just never looked back. We had already developed so many of our own ways of doing things that when we had the help from the coach, we were able to then just sort of pick up on everything that we were doing already and kind of go with it. And then she's really good with people, managing the people and getting me out of the business and then working more with accountability. Right. Oh wait, what's going on? Like your marriage is the problem. It's not right now the you don't want to work out.
Right.
And we start to get into deeper issues and then getting people their results. And so we just blew up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how many staff did you have back before 2018 to what were you at your heyday?
I always had it was always me. And if I had a few trainers, it would be like an hour here. It's like giving me a break. I get the night off on Tuesday night or something. Right. And they used to hold me ransom, hey?
They did. As soon as I came into the picture, I said, no more holding my husband ransom. And so we had probably a team of almost 20 once I came into the picture. But it went from a team of 2 or 3 to a team of about 20. But he's the worker and I'm the manager. And so when we brought both of those things together, it's really important to have both because you need somebody that sees the value in getting up at 5. We need someone that sees the value in staying later, which I didn't see that. I used to say, do you remember what I used to say?
Yeah, yeah.
I used to say, I'd rather work at Starbucks. Being an entrepreneur,
I forced her into entrepreneurship, but now you love it.
I love it now,
Yeah.
but I'm not a natural entrepreneur. He is. And so I came in with, the rules, the regulations, the systems, the how to manage staff, how to build the team, along with the coach that he mentioned. And so all of that together, it just went from this like six-figure business to a multi-six-figure business to a seven-figure business.
Wow. And what did you do before you met him at the gym?
I was pretty much a professional student.
Okay.
I had a few little sort of entrepreneurial businesses in childcare, and I did a lot of preschool teaching, managing daycares. I really loved kids. And then I continued to go to school. I did a business degree. When I met him, I did a master's in nutrition science, and it just kind of all came together as we built this whole thing.
You found your little passions along the way and just followed your education where that led you. And
That's right. I followed my education and I followed my husband.
Yeah.
Because I would be in a completely different place if I would have just followed what I was doing educationally, because I would have been capped. So he said to you, JC, you're not profitable if you're making $100,000 a year as
Right.
an entrepreneur. And I would have capped myself even at that. As you go to school, you think, oh, I've made it if I can make $100,000 a year.
Right.
Not that I was making that at the time. I definitely was not.
All right, so here you are you're pumping weights, you're doing the management part, you're working out in the gym. So where do you go from there to where we are now with the Morrow marriage? What was the transition? Did you wake up one day? How long have you guys been married for? Let's start with that. You guys are married.
Yes, we're married.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we've been married for 9 years, and we were forced to make a change. As everybody remembers, COVID happened. Gym's one of the biggest industries that got hit, and overnight we lost our business. Then we lost I shouldn't say overnight. We had a lot of clients that did try to help carry us.
It felt like overnight. Within 12 months, we lost everything.
That's just a little blip. So that's basically overnight.
Everybody knows the story, so I won't get into it. But for us, that meant, we'd done really well professionally and financially. Some of us weren't so good with money and were spending it a lot. First time you're making money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so we lost the home, we lost the lifted truck, we lost the muscle cars, we lost we had to downsize. We decided, if we have to start over, we thought we could bring our expertise in the fitness industry here. For example, I'm really good at ad copy, right? I learned from that coach. So I thought maybe we could run these challenges at the gyms that we were doing and stuff like that. And so we came to Kelowna. Said, if we're starting over, let's go somewhere nice where fitness matters, and and see what we can do. And that didn't work. She was really working hard to grow it online. At the same time, everybody was.
Right.
And I was getting into trading and investments, and geez, I was working like 22 hours, sleeping like an hour here, an hour there. We were just it was not good. We ended up having to get evicted from the place we were at. So somewhere in there, my brilliant wife said, you've been coaching people for decades, and you did this whole thing with our marriage. Why don't you just do that? And went viral 45 days later, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Excellent.
So you left Edmonton, moved to Kelowna. You're in a marriage thing. You guys both trying to figure out what's going on now. You're trying different things and just trying to figure out what works here. And you guys decided to come up with the marriage coaching. And then the name. I love the logo. I love the logo. How did you guys come up with the name, and how did you start marketing that?
Oh boy, that changed a lot. So originally it was just a program for men. I was helping men, and I was hooking men with sex. If you want more sex with your wife, then or you think great providers have great sex, they don't. And so it was actually carnal marriage, and then there's too much to run through. But essentially, I was a really, really bad man. I was quite abusive towards Kathryn. Emotionally, physically, sexually. I lectured and screamed at her all the time. I had a lot of growing up to do. The more I told my truth, the more people started to follow. And these problems are like everywhere.
Right.
Not necessarily as bad as me.
Right.
That's actually, we don't get all those guys as much as it would be nice.
Right.
But the more I told my truth, the more vulnerable I was with it. Somewhere in there, I was encouraging her to now help the women, because I have all these women following, asking questions. So she started her program, which is a different we have 2 separate companies that are under one umbrella. So Morrow Marriage, where we came up with that was, it's our name, and the R's are turning towards. That's something she learned in one of her trainings, turn towards. And so I just like it. I like it a lot. The 2 R's face together. You guys should be focused on each other first all the time. And
That's very unique.
Yeah.
That's very unique. That's one of the first things I picked up. Whatever, it's red, it's in your face. I see the billboard on the side of the hill, whatever. So that you're getting some good marketing and advertising that. So it started with you helping men. So give us insight on what that would be like. If I was going to call you up, how does that work out?
well, I do things a little bit differently. I always say to guys, I'm not going to sell you. You're either in or you're out, because I'm not chasing men, I'm making men. So there's a big trust factor there. By the time somebody gets on the phone with me, they know that they're taking responsibility for themselves. I'm not really into this whole best version crap anymore. I think we got to remember that she's our why. She can't be your why not, you know? And so then you can become your best version. Just own and take responsibility for yourself. And so, yeah, you're in, you trust me, you listen to the podcast, for example, or wow, I do that email I just read, that I write them all myself. I don't do AI. You're in my head. It's like you were just in my house last night or whatever. So they just join. And then you go on an app, and I have tons of Zoom. Kathryn coaches the men too sometimes. I have other coaches. It's just tons and tons of support, so you can show up reflecting, bringing back the stories real time with what's happening, so we can change who you are radically and ultimately get your wife on board and following you.
Right. So mostly start with the men on following your podcasts, that you relating to them, getting in real with them.
Yes.
And then at that point, you had some more females starting to follow you and join you.
Almost always been women.
Okay.
So, the interesting thing about people, men who are victims is what I would say, They would complain, oh yeah, of course you're just pandering to women, you just want their approval. No, I have a wicked marriage and we have this beautiful life because I took responsibility for myself. If 300,000 women are saying, I agree, spot on, this guy gets it. I posted that on my Instagram story today. Like, I've been telling my husband this for years. Maybe you should listen. Means I'm translating. So the women, I think a lot of the men come because their wives are following. But the men still see it. But let's be real. JC, if you fought with your wife last night, are you going to be like telling everybody that you fought with your wife last night?
No.
Most people aren't.
No.
If you have somebody, intimacy's not there in the relationship, maybe you're just like roommates. Not many of us want to go, hey, yeah, my wife isn't really that interested in me. Or Kathryn, she said I was repulsive back in the day.
Wow.
I'm not running around telling everybody that.
No,
you know what I mean? So these men aren't going to comment on my social media. They might not even follow. But you show up in the algorithm, and then they'll find the podcast, or they'll find a training, or something like that.
And then where do you fit in? You've got these podcasts going on. Tell us a bit about your role in that.
Yeah, for sure. So he was going viral on social media, and he had so many followers so quickly that I had to take notice of that. And of course, I thought he was amazing, but all these other people thought he was amazing, and now all these people are following him, they're saving their marriages, and he said, Kathryn, there's really a space, there's really room for you to be helping women whose husbands are not going to come on board. And so my program, it's called the White Picket Fence Project. And the idea behind the White Picket Fence Project is that you can have the white picket fence. I don't know any woman that pictures the white picket fence and doesn't want it. Even if they don't want the actual fence, you think about the perfect family, you think about your beautiful home, peace, contentment, pleasure, children. You think about all these things that women dream about every day. But if you don't have that one special piece, the husband, who treats you with love and respect, you can't have the white picket fence. And so the White Picket Fence Project is built for women who know that there's more. They believe that they can inspire and influence their partner. Because when you got married, you married a good man. I say to my women, you married a good man. You married a tender spirit. I know that there's a good man in there. What do we need to do to break down the walls of bitterness and resentment, and to increase your empathy and your gratitude, and to get rid of your complacency, to bring that man back out, because you fell in love with that man. He's in there. What happened to you? Why are you not being your best self? We hate saying that, but it's so true. Why are you not the woman that you were created to be? Because when you are her, you're going to be able to lift him up to be that man, and that's a man that's worth following. I know it because I lived it. My husband was a very bad man. And we had a couple of different turning points in our relationship where he led, I led. it's a little bit of back and forth. But when I finally looked within myself and I said, okay, well, I'm blaming him. What can I do to be better? And when I did that, what happened?
Life got good. But and it's funny because it's the same way that we have to look as men too, right? We all think that, well, we just saw it on a show the other day. Is he going to be a good father? Well, yeah, he's a good provider and he's a good protector. You're still being taught that, right? But we know that we now know that we all signed up for much more. You know, men get wrapped up in their needs, let's say, sexually. Well, I'm doing my job. I'm paying the bills. But they don't realize that there's so much more to provide.
Right.
And if you meet her needs, she's going to meet your needs. Right. But you wanted them too. You wanted that emotional connection in the beginning. That's why you were laughing, right? But all you're really presenting by not looking in the mirror and being defensive is you're not protecting your partner. You're not loving, showing empathy. You're not getting her to be your natural, loving, empathetic, compassionate self, which, by the way, we love as men. We call it respect, right? Because we're being supported and lifted. So I think in our journey, the more that we learn, and those who teach learn faster as far as I'm concerned, the more that we coach and we get involved, like, oh my gosh, there's nothing that I'm afraid of. I don't care what the relationship is. There's nothing that I feel like I couldn't help a man with now. It's so cool. And then we get to bring that back, and then we get to go back and forth, and it's exciting, you know?
So what would be a normal day then in your life? When you wake up in the morning you go to bed, what's your daily process then? What's your daily?
So when I'm in my complete groove, I'm up pretty early, like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I get started with affirmations, my goals, a little vision board. Then we got to get to work. I like to do a daily email a few times a week. That's just from my head, from something that we talked about. Did I say the gym? I've hit the gym. And then Kathryn's got the kids up, and so I'm involved with that. And then Zooms. It's mostly Zooms, coaching. I don't chat with my guys. I have mentors that do that. But yeah, it's obviously going to be a lot of group, but like with the one-on-one tension in the group. And then I do my own sales calls because I like to invite men into the program if they trust me and they're going to follow through. Yeah. So mixture of all that.
Cool. Yeah. What about you?
Well, he forgot one really important, hilarious piece.
Which one?
Of our daily puzzle.
Which one?
So when he goes to the gym, he comes home, I go to the gym,
Oh.
I come home, we do a cold plunge.
Plunge.
Yeah.
And my husband is really good at the cold plunge. He can stay in there for 3 to 4 minutes. He films content. He talks to the children. He pets the dogs. I'm in there for 3 to 30.
It's funny.
It's funny. I'm in there for 3 to 30 seconds. I don't even know that the dogs were there until I watch my video back. I don't even realize I'm not all the way in. It's probably one of the highlights of our day because I film it all and I put it all on social media. People love seeing it because it makes you real. I don't know. He's unreal. He's a superhero. That's why he can stay in for 3 to 4 minutes. But for me, I get up at a normal person hour, not like 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's true.
So I have 3 kids under 5, so a normal person hour is still between 6 and 7. I get up, I get the kids ready, I take the kids to preschool, I work for a chunk of the day, I work with him, we film our podcast, we film content. I also do my own sales calls. We don't like to think of it as a sales call. It's, are you a good fit? If you're a good fit, then you're into the program. You know, we're not trying to hard sell you. We're not trying to convince you that this is the right fit for you. You need to convince us that you're the right fit for us because we have a 90% success rate. So if you come into our program, you can almost guarantee that you're going to fix your marriage. And if you don't, you're still going to come out thinking, I'm so glad that I did this. I feel like such a better person. I come out as a woman. I don't have a lot of women that have gotten divorced, but they come out saying, I feel so much stronger walking into my divorce. And it's still only a small percentage. And then at the end of the day is complete mayhem. So when I pick up the kids or when he picks up the kids from preschool, it is, again, 3 kids under 5. JC, you've met them.
Yes.
You have one the same age.
He's there. Put your battle scars on, put your battle paint on and get in there. And
That's right. You just have to survive for the rest of the day and play, get exhausted, deal with a little bit of work here and there, swimming lessons, dance lessons, whatever you need to do, and then bedtime and do it all over again. It's Groundhog Day.
Right?
Yeah.
So Morrow marriage. What would be your why? Why did you start this up? What's your what's your why? Both of you.
My why is like this long,
All right.
but I'll summarize it. I want men to realize that there is a better way. I think that I want men and women to understand we're all taught to be men and women, but not in a relationship. Just like we're not taught finances in school. You know, there's all these skills that we weren't shown, and I want to save them. I want to save marriages. I really believe we're put on this planet ordained to disrupt divorce. This is presenting value to people that, in a way that they can be valuable. Everything is really, everybody that's an entrepreneur listening right now, like your relationships are value is why you can do well, right? And so people are hearing things like narcissists can't change. Hi, self-aware managing severe narcissist. I did have a narc out, she called it recently.
First one in like 2 years, though.
Yeah. Still in my head, right? So, but I'm tired of people being told they can't change. You know, nowadays it's everything from ADHD to depression to narcissism is all like, it's impossible. No, it's not. You just haven't found the answer yet. So I can talk about my wife for days because there's so many people that think wrong, betrayal. Oh my gosh, there's all these things that happen before somebody cheats. What can you do differently? And in this, the newest evolution of the business is taking these men and helping them. Actually, I'm working with men and women on another program, helping them figure out what their impact can be. How can they change the world? You know, I'm disrupting divorce, but I talked to a guy today who tried to help his parents with Alzheimer's and dementia. People don't know how to deal with that. Good, there's more problems like that we need to solve. And so I think the why is just evolving and evolving and evolving, and it's becoming pretty powerful.
And what about you, Kathryn? What's your why?
My why is really simple. Women don't realize how much power they have in their marriage. And there are some women that are not going to leave no matter how bad it gets. It's a really privileged idea or thought or statement to say you should leave, you don't deserve this, because women will stay sometimes until their death, unfortunately, but women will stay to protect their children. Women will stay to keep their family together. And my why is to help those women have the power to influence and inspire not only their partner, but their marriage and their family and everything that's going to happen in the rest of their life. And they don't realize it because they get so beaten down, not physically, but they get so beaten down emotionally that they don't recognize who they used to be. And if they can get back to that woman that they were when they got married, they're going to be able to raise up strong children. They're going to be influencing their husband. And if they don't influence their husband, you know, I mentioned a little while ago, there is about a 10% divorce rate among the women in my program. If they don't influence their husband and their husband refuses to grow, the wife then outgrows the husband and she feels comfortable leaving. And it's a lot safer emotionally, physically, any way you want to look at it. So my why is bringing women up to the place that they were meant to be so that they can bring their husbands along with them and have the marriage that they've always wanted, the white picket fence.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we call it the new marriage because like the ideas that we've come up with, that we figured out, we call it like rules of marriage, you know, but it's just different. But you know what's funny is it's working in 18 countries around the world. It doesn't matter who you're talking to, how long people have been married, doesn't matter race, religion, culture. It's the same problems, this masculine, feminine, and so people, you either like it or you don't. And I'm really forthright on the podcast. I'm like, well, slap yourself across the face because it's not working anywhere else. So why don't you try it? Because the strength that she's talking about, when a man and a woman have that, you know, we'll talk about me leading and Kathryn following, but the reality is we're super power couple. Forget hashtag couple goals. It's because she has massive strengths. I have massive strengths. We know exactly where to lift each other up. We also, unfortunately, can tear each other down a little bit too. We're normal, we're human, right? But the better we get at this, we just keep rising together. And if we can give that to the world, then none of our children will know that divorce is normal.
Wow.
You'll look like an
powerful.
idiot, you know?
Yeah.
So you said 18 countries before. Is that what when you started your podcast, did you expect to be in 18 countries, having people join your podcast, clientele?
No.
Wow.
Oh man, it's just been a crazy journey. You know, I told you earlier, the hook with the sex was obviously a lot of men are in what we call sexless marriages. And so, you know, it starts to trend, it starts to go, they want more.
It's the same here as over there, right?
Everywhere. And in some cases, it's just the problems are amplified, right? If you look at, I call it job sex, right? If she's just doing a job, checking off the to-do list. Well, some religions promote that, right? And so sometimes it's just worse based on that. But it's all really the same. I always try to say, I don't mean to be rude, but the story doesn't matter. It's the same symptoms, same treatment, right? But I had no idea where this would go. It went super viral on TikTok, and I think the first video was saying that it's not that she's not interested in sex. She's not telling the truth. She's not attracted, she's not in love, and she's settling. Those were the words she used with me. Everything that I tell you is something that I learned or something that happened in my life. Maybe 0.5% would be something from another man that I didn't, have in my life. And so then it just started to go. I mean, at some points, Facebook was 2,500 followers a day. We just picked up 2,000 yesterday.
Wow.
From a long post. Marketers tell you don't write it. Give the truth, So I had no idea where it would go. And now the podcast every month is growing, subscribers and followers on every account is growing. This cold plunge thing is probably going to make her go viral. But, it's...
People think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It is actually hilarious. I watch it myself and I'm like, that's not how I remember it. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can't think when you're, I can't think when I'm in the cold plunge.
Right.
But the key was being consistent. I outpost everybody. Every one of my competitors, I outpost them. And my ideas, they work to save our marriage, right? If they have ideas and they're in a second marriage, well, we saved our marriage from the depths of hell, So I think that it makes sense that it's moving fast. It's truth. It's consistent. There's a lot of content. And, same thing with the podcast. Okay, let's do 5 episodes a week then. If that's people need it, let's get it out there. And so I think that you're in their face. And so it just keeps going and going and going.
So what was your mentor? I think you might have touched on that a little bit. So what's your mentor? Do you have a mentor? If people are looking at this, reading this or watching this later on, wanting to start their own business, what advice would you give them? Did you have a mentor when you guys did this? Anybody look up to?
We've had so many, but so she's got a lot of education, and then there's lots of certifications, more for her as well. And then I'm going to actually say my favorite stuff was more from books. We've had business mentors is different, right? There's lots and lots of business mentors. Alex Hormozy, one now is Cole De Silva. There's Evan Carmichael. There's tons. But for the relationship stuff, it's books and books and books. Somebody recently asked me, what are your favorite books? And I was like, I got a list of like 30 that are my favorite. In my course, I'm like, read this book, follow this person. If you want to learn more about this parenting, go to this person on Instagram. Like, there's so many to count. If I was going to say to anybody, where would you start? Just get started.
Nice.
If you think you've tried everything, you haven't. You haven't, because we still learn.
Right.
Anything you want to add to that?
Every good coach has a coach.
Yeah.
So we don't have marriage coaches at this point in our journey because our marriage is stellar. We have an amazing marriage.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
people
amazing.
offer what we offer. I don't think
We
there's
have
somebody we could hire now.
We have an amazing marriage, but I still work on parenting, for example. And if you want to be strong in your marriage, you have to be a strong mother. You have to be a strong father. We own businesses, and so we both have business coaches. And so no matter what, every good coach has some sort of coach, because you can't think that you're at the top of the world in every aspect of your life, because it's just simply not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I teach accountability, and one of the reasons why I hired, I don't know if you guys know him, Cole De Silva's here in town, him and Brian Mark is his partner, but it's because when I pay them, I just do more.
Little financial skin in the game.
Yeah, it just keeps you accountable, right?
Nice.
So.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being on the show. I've definitely learned a lot, and look forward to seeing what's coming up for you in the future here as Morrow Marriages grows.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Good. Thank you.